What's up, everyone? This is the Next Tape podcast with Mikel and
Tanyka.
where we have conversations on different topics. So, we got a cool, interesting episode today. 3 topics.
Yeah,
So,
I'll go into the topic.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about social media companies being sued with respect to a mass shooting, stopping pressures at Lake Ridge Health, which for those who maybe don't live in the local live in Ontario, that's a hospital or the hospital system network. And we're also going to be talking about Canada's Wonderland, which is an amusement park here in Ontario, is tearing down a historic ride after 26 years. That's what we're going to be talking about. First topic. So a New York State judge about a few months back denied a motion to dismiss a lawsuit against several social media companies alleging the platforms contributed to the radicalization of a gunman who killed 10 people at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York in 2022. And this was a mass shooting that I think definitely the news made its way over here in Canada. It was
Right.
Yeah, predominantly, I think this grocery store was in a black neighborhood in Buffalo, and this was a white gunman, so it was pretty huge. So I was unaware that social media was being dragged into what I'm assuming is a civil suit. So I think this is nuts. So basically, the court has determined the complaint sufficiently pleads viable causes of action to go forward at this stage of the litigation. This was said by an Erie County Supreme Court Justice Paula Furletto, I believe that's how you say her name. She said in her decision, the judge said that the plaintiffs may proceed with their lawsuit, which claims social media companies, which include Meta, Alphabet, which I've never heard of Alphabet. Mikel, do you know what Alphabet is?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H,
Well,
I.
not
Okay.
the alphabet. Social media.
Alphabet, yeah, it's Google. So Alphabet is just that's their name. That's their
Okay.
company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also includes Reddit and 4chan, which I'm not sure what 4chan is either. But it says, quote, profit from the racist, anti-Semitic, and violent material displayed on their platforms to maximize user engagement, including the time then 18-year-old Peyton Gendron, I think is how you say his name, but whatever, spent on their platforms viewing their materials. Basically what this, to say more in layman's terms, basically what they're saying here is because these very, I guess potentially, especially with Meta, famous companies that, or where the social media is under, whether that be Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, X. Well, X is not a part of this, but
Yeah,
all
it's
of that.
Twitter. Twitter is formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're part of this lawsuit in particular, but all of those things.
Does it say on the article that they're part of
It
the
doesn't
lawsuit?
mention their names. Doesn't mention their name, but
All right.
nonetheless, those things are showing material that promotes racism, anti-Semitic type things, and is radicalizing people. Now, there are obviously people out there who can look at these materials and look at them in disgust and look the other way and not engage with those things. But then you have people who already have that in them and then take that even a step further and do what this person did. So it's basically kind of what they're saying here. Attorneys for the social media companies named in the lawsuit, which I'm not sure if there's probably not one attorney for all of them, it's probably different attorneys, named in the lawsuit, filed a motion to dismiss, which, again, in layman's terms, is basically just trying to get this action to go away. And they're trying to just get it dismissed, go away kind of thing, saying the companies are akin to message boards containing third-party content, and this is what was said in the court documents. So, quote, plaintiffs contend the defendants' platforms are more than just message boards, which that's very true. Court documents continued on to say they allege they are sophisticated products designed to be addictive to young users, and they directed Gandron, which is the gunman, to further platforms or postings that indoctrinated him with, quote, white replacement theory, or confused. That's what the decision said. So it's basically like, just, again, there's racism, and then there is just that step up from racism, which is kind of like those
threats and all, everything, like threats.
This went beyond threats. This went to a point of him taking this material and trying to rid the world of people who don't look like him or who don't believe in the way he does. It's a supremacist. It's basically I don't know if he necessarily is a white supremacist. I'm not sure that ever necessarily came out, but he definitely clearly thought, moved, did as a white supremacist would. It is far too early to rule as a matter of law that the actions or inaction of the social media / internet defendants through their platforms require dismissal, which I'm not sure when the suit was filed. It's not clear in this article when the suit was filed, but there's so because I know maybe American law is a little different, slightly different. Basically, here in Canada, we have the equivalent of something called a summary judgment motion, which if you feel that you don't have adequate evidence to have a party in an action, and we've made requests to be let out of an action or have the action dismissed or whatever, or discontinued is another term that is used in the Canadian justice system. Or legal system, then you can move to do summary judgment motion. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's very time consuming. So and again, you can, summary judgment motions that my boss has done usually don't happen in the first few months of file being a thing or a claim being in existence. It takes about a year or two before you can even get to that point of actually having a file in your hands, having a summary judgment motion, or in this case, a motion to dismiss. So if they rush to a motion to dismiss without kudos for trying, but if you move to a summary judgment, a motion to dismiss right off the bat, chances are, yes, this is the result you're going to get, because you need to provide enough evidence to show that you're not supposed to be a part of this action, or you shouldn't be sued at all. It doesn't just happen. So I don't fault them in trying to get out of an action, but you make sure you have the evidence to back it up. Don't just do it to do it, because then you are also directing your clients inappropriately to think that they could potentially get out of an action, or you're wasting their money to do so, because a summary judgment motion is not cheap. It is a very expensive process, not as expensive as a trial, but it's expensive. So nonetheless, let's go back to this. So CNN has reached out to Meta for comment. I guess they didn't comment, but we'll see. YouTube spokesperson Jose Casadena, I think that is his name, provided a statement to CNN expressing sympathy for the victims and families of the attack, saying that YouTube has invested in technology and policies to identify and remove extremist content. Quote, while we disagree with today's decision, so I guess YouTube is a part of this too, and we will be appealing, which we'll debt, we will continue to work with law enforcement, other platforms, and civil society to share intelligence and best practices. This was again said by YouTube. In a statement to CNN, Reddit said, quote, "Hate and violence have no place on Reddit. Our site-wide policies explicitly prohibit content that promotes hate based on identity or vulnerability, as well as content that encourages, glorifies, incites, or calls for violence or physical harm against an individual or group of people. We are constantly evaluating ways to improve our detection and removal of this content, including through enhanced image hashing systems, and we will continue to review the communities on our platform to ensure they are upholding our rules." Reddit plans to appeal the decision as well, which was confirmed by a spokesperson. So, in case you don't remember this particular mass shooting that happened, just a quick synopsis of what happened. So again, this mass shooting happened in Buffalo in 2022. On May 14th, a mass shooting occurred in Buffalo, New York at a Tops Friendly Markets supermarket in the East Side neighborhood, which from my recollection was a predominantly Black neighborhood. 10 people, all of whom were African American, were murdered and 3 were injured. So that's basically what happened. It was all over the news from my memory, and it was pretty horrific. And
wow, that's crazy. Hopefully everything gets like settled in court and everything. And
like, I'm not even sure if he's gone to trial or what's happened there. I didn't look into that, because I'm assuming, like I said, this is civil in terms of the social media platforms, not criminal. This is clearly a way for the victims' families to get some form of compensation from somebody, because that's typical, usually what happens, and if possible. And I'm not sure if he's been indicted. I'm not sure. I'm obviously charged. That I don't think did he kill himself. Actually, now that I'm starting to think about it, I'm not sure if he did.
Is it in the article that it says that?
No, because this was mainly about the social media part of it. I don't remember if he did. I feel like he didn't, but I might be incorrect with that. Yeah, I can't remember now. I mean, 9 times out of 10, these people are cowards, and they do go out, whether it's self-inflicted or police doing it. But yeah, I can't remember. Right. Anyway.
Okay.
I do hope for the best for the families, of course.
Yeah. Same here. I hope for the best for that situation. So yeah.
All right. So, next topic. So, dozens were apparently outside of Lake Ridge Health's Oshawa Hospital, which is on Simcoe, to decry a lack of frontline workers. So, the Canadian Union of Public Employees, CUPE, alleges Lake Ridge has been eliminating housekeeping and clerical positions and passing the duties on to other staff members. Quote, "They are burnt out," which was said by Pam Parks, who was a registered practical nurse and president of CUPE Local 66364, which I guess is the division of CUPE, in the interview with Durham Radio News. She continued on by saying they are frustrated, they are mentally drained, and physically. Most of the staff actually are so proud in what they do that they do miss their breaks. So she also added that they're giving their heart, their soul to the employer, and this is the thanks that they give them by getting rid of administrative employees and basically having to make the nursing staff do. And again, this is something we actually talked about in a previous bonus episode with general practitioners having to take on a lot of the administrative work as well. So this is kind of showing that it's not just happening within your family doctors or general practitioners, it's also happening within hospitals, which, I mean, I've been in a hospital in the last, you know, a few times in the last couple of years, and just the steady decline in what you kind of, the care you're getting. It's like, so they're wasting their time instead of tending to patients, they're tending to administrative things, and that's not okay.
Well, I would say kind of blame, like, the government for not investing towards,
Yeah, I'm actually going to maybe do a little bit of a mini rant at the end of the article, just what I've kind of experienced and kind of what my family's kind of been going through. If I do a little bit of a mini rant, but I'll finish the article first. So, according to the union, the hospital network will not be filling around 54 vacant spots. So I think I'm not sure if this is just in Oshawa or what, but, well, I guess if it's the hospital network, that would also include Ajax as well, Ajax Pickering Hospital. So the union adds that not all of these positions have been cut yet. The positions include clerical staff and service associates. So in case you need clarification, service associates are the ones that porter and transport the patients, and they also make sure that our health and safety with respect to cleaning is done properly. So like for me, like when I was in the hospital in emergency the last time, they're the ones that were taking me from the spot that I'm waiting to talk to a doctor to then take me to my ultrasound and then bring me back. Like those are the ones, like they're important part of the hospital experience, because the nurses are doing that. Like literally, like my mom is with me and they wanted my mom to push me. My mom may not be the one in the wheelchair, but my mom's not necessarily the greatest health herself. Right. So why should she have to be pushing the wheelchairs because you don't want to? So because the nurses may not want to, or, whatever, those transporters, those service employees are so crucial. So if they're going to be cutting back on those people who are crucial, what the hell is going to happen? So the union alleges that nurses and dialysis technicians have had to clean stretchers due to lack of housekeeping staff. So that's the thing too. It's, again, being in day surgery, I was seeing, I think there was 2 people in there that were in charge of doing cleaning of the stretchers and changing the bedding and of the beds, and that they would take you into the operating room. They were responsible for that. So what happens then if those people are being cut? Are the nurses supposed to be doing that while they're also tending to patients? And, this process of going through surgery prior to the actual surgery, it is so involved that you can't have nurses also having to do that. Listen, I sat there for hours waiting to go into my surgery. It took probably each time they had to clean those beds and change out the bedding about 10 minutes.
Oh, wow. So
imagine having to do that about, say, roughly 5 to 10 minutes. So you have to do that. That's a lot of time spent on that, that they're now neglecting a patient. Like, that's not great.
Yeah, it is not great at all. It's ridiculous.
Yes, it is. Adding more work onto less people is not the solution to this staffing crisis. And this was said by Charlene Van Dyke, who is a hospital employee, and she said this to Durham Radio News. So she continued on to say, "It feels like it's a thankless job. It's an endless job. We walk in and it's just, you've got to do, you've got to do, you've got to do. And you never get anything in return," which the thing is I understand what you're trying to say here. And I'm going to say this. On one hand, you should never go into a job, especially like this, and expect thank yous, although it's, it's the right thing to do depending on the situation. But you never go into a job like this hoping for thank yous. But at the same time, it's up to your employer to make sure that you're being taken care of. And if your employer isn't taking care of you, morale is going to go down. Your passion, the drive that pushes you to do this job is going to go down.
Yeah.
And that's also not great either. If you're dealing with nurses who are just hating their job, hating life right now, like, and you encounter those too. It's not my problem as a patient, but go ahead.
I mean, it's a very stressful job for
of course,
a nurse or a doctor to.
No, of course.
To do, because like you're dealing with like a lot of like patients who like who are like physically or mentally hurt. So yeah, you're dealing with a lot, and you have to be careful. You have to give them a lot of attention. If you steer them in the wrong direction, things could go left. So yeah, it's very stressful. I understand. You want. When I'm in like a hospital, I'm always saying like when I finish, thank you, appreciate it. What you guys.
And again, that's why I said like it depends on the situation you're in. That sometimes you're just not able to even do that, right? Like me going into the hospital because I'm in excruciating pain and I'm getting sick and whatever. You want to make sure that you are saying the thank yous if possible, but
yeah,
sometimes you're just not able to do that.
Yeah,
that's why it says it's great if you can. And like again, like even when I was getting my ultrasound done, when I was in emerge, I was like, when they were done, I'm like, okay, thank you, even though like you're the one pressing on my stomach. Like I'm like, thank you. You're doing the best that you can as a patient, but at least for the patient is lacking in the thank yous, your employer should be picking that up. And if your employer isn't picking that up because now they're going to cut staff and now it's going to fall back on nurses, it's a hospital is more than the doctors and the nurses and the technicians. The hospital is this well-oiled machine that's supposed to have all these other players in the mix. You take those players out of the mix, then what's going to happen? It's going to fall apart.
It's sometimes it's like most of the people that's been there for the longest time, that's seen a lot, and basically, yeah, some of them are just going to be like bad apples, like they're not going to see certain things that the newer doctors or the newer nurses see.
Yeah.
And they don't even, some of them just don't, they feel like they're ahead of you, or they're better than you, and that's where that toxic chemistry goes around in the hospital, or it goes around in the workplace in general, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's where it starts. Like I feel like that's where it starts. Like someone that's been there longer than you is telling you that, like, do this, do that, or saying or being gossipy, or being toxic in a work environment. So
yeah, I mean, you're gonna get that no matter where you are. There's always gonna be the politics in a workplace, whether it's a hospital or a law firm or whatever. You're always gonna have what they refer to as the workplace politics. But it's just you're always gonna have like someone who's kind of maybe been there, done that, and whatever. But so the article continues on to say, some of the floors, this is a quote, on some of the floors, if the nursing ratio isn't right, you want to make sure that Mr. or Mrs. Smith is toileted or gets their meds on time. You're healthy, you're okay, you're going to miss your break, so that person is more comfortable. So that's the thing. It's like if a nurse has to worry about, just as an example, cleaning a toilet, which some of the toilets in especially HS hospital needs help. But if you're going to be worrying about cleaning toilets, for example, when they should be administering medication to a patient,
right?
What's going to happen? You know what I mean? Like it's just personal.
Isn't that the janitor's job to do that?
But I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah.
So, yeah. this it's an example that popped in my head. So it's just like, yes, as a janitor's, quote unquote, actually, I'm not even, yeah, I guess a technically janitor's job, yes, but this is an example. Like, it's just everyone has their role in the hospital,
Right.
and there shouldn't be, like, for example, I as a law clerk, special legal assistant, shouldn't have to be dealing with, like, I don't know, something like, especially in a larger firm, which is, I think, using a larger firm as an example is a little bit easier to describe, to compare to a hospital. Me as an assistant or a legal or law clerk shouldn't have to then be worrying about reception, because everyone has their role. There's the assistants, there's the lawyers, there's the clerks, there's reception, there's people in the mailroom, whatever. Everyone has their job. And if you're cutting back on people's jobs, then that's just going to add on more stress to the other people, to the assistants, which is like the equivalent of a nurse in a law firm, right? So it's just like, we all have our roles, and it's just not fair to expect the nurses to take on what the hospital wants to cut. So they continue on to say, quote, "I would like to see Lakeridge hire more full-time staff. They need to go to the province to advocate that they need the funding to actually run the business that they have." I will be ranting about that too at the end of the article. The government needs to fund the hospital so that at the end of the day, the citizens are looked after when they come in. I would like this employer to stand with us. And again, this was said by Van Dyke. I would like to see them out here with us today to demand that the government fund us properly. Underfunding healthcare is unacceptable. Couldn't have said it better myself. So QP has called for around 60,000 people to be hired in hospitals across Ontario, only Ontario, over the next 4 years.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if we're going to see that happen. Oh, fingers crossed. But my rant here just kind of at the end, because we're at the end of the article now.
Yeah, go ahead.
With, again, I'm maybe going to try not to go too personal with things, but some things obviously listeners already know about. With everything that I'm going through with my my health, and working my way through the medical, going through medical stuff and whatever, with, pain still, even though I don't have a gallbladder anymore, but I'm still dealing with that. I have AFib, dealing with the AFib, which is a heart condition, dealing with, fertility issues and all of this different things that's going on in my world health-wise. It is so frustrating as a patient to not be getting the proper care that I expect. Obviously, we're human, but I expect more. I have a family doctor who doesn't want to deal with things, and he wants to delegate to other people who I'm now discharged from. And it's frustrating when I have a naturopath who can only do so much in the scope that is allotted to him, which is a whole separate situation that we don't even need to get into. But my naturopath has done more advocating for me than any other doctor has, at least when it comes to the fertility aspect of things. And then when you have with the AFib, which is something I've been dealing with now for 2 years, roughly, and when you have cardiologists saying, "Oh, we're gonna call you with an appointment," and you don't get that appointment, and you're just like, what the hell? And when you do EKGs, because they did EKGs on me when I was in the emerge, when I discovered the gallbladder, the gallstone, and I wasn't even told that there was anything picked up on my EKG. I was told everything was fine. But then when I am going through pre-op, which would have been about a month later, and I'm being told by the anesthesiologist that you either have a stroke and or a heart attack, if you don't address it, which is terrifying to hear something like that. But I blame my experience and Emerge. And when you hear that they want to cut back more, that is going to affect the client, the patient care, is frustrating. Like, I was literally on the phone with my grandmother earlier today in tears because my concerns that I have, and it's not just the one thing, it's so much. I'm overwhelmed and I feel like I don't have any help. I feel like I'm not being heard. And I do understand that there's a strain on the system right now. And I don't necessarily just put blame on nurses or doctors or hospitals or anything like that, but I push blame on the people who are not doing the work or doing what needs to be done to fix that. And I blame that on the province, which in turn means I blame that on Doug Ford. And I said that to my grandmother because, again, my grandmother's also going through medical stuff as well, that it's like frustrating to hear that something that they finally after maybe 4 years have an answer to, but took them 4 years. And it's as simple as, well, maybe her esophagus just isn't working anymore. And it's just like, you couldn't have figured that out in 4 years? Meanwhile, my grandmother is withering away literally in front of us after these 4 years. You couldn't have figured this out before? And it's frustrating. And we have that conversation. I'm like, while Doug Ford is more concerned, which we've talked about on this podcast already, dealing with putting beer in convenience stores. Meanwhile, our health system is failing. Like, I literally, I'm just beyond overwhelmed with everything that I have to deal with medically, that I literally am on my phone the other night having to just create a to-do list of things that I need to do to advocate for myself, which you should always be advocating for yourself. But it'd be really wonderful if you also had doctors also helping with being advocates for you too. And I mean, again, just as maybe like another look into things going on with me, when you're being told that your progesterone levels, which for those who don't know is a hormone for women that rises after ovulation, and it's crucial in not only getting pregnant but maintaining your pregnancy. When you are told that it's low and you're telling doctors, I need help, I need you to hear me, I need medication, and you're basically being told, well, we normally don't prescribe progesterone unless you've had a miscarriage. And it's like, so you're telling me that I have to go through something traumatic like a miscarriage that's not even going to have just affect me but affect my partner. And it's not just once, it's like 2 or 3 times you have to have that happen. And that is when I can get progesterone. But I can't even get to that point. So it's just so frustrating right now. And it's so frustrating to hear that let's just make the healthcare system just 10 times worse. But that is my rant on the healthcare system right now.
Well, Doug Ford is making a shuffle with his cabinet. So basically, he just fired his education minister.
Which, again, that's another thing that's being affected.
Yeah, Stephen Lease.
Yeah.
Guessing he's just, shifting,
No, there's been rumors about that already going to be happening. The educational system in our province also is just, it's not great. The educational system, the healthcare system.
That's probably why. I think he's making changes to his cabinet. That's probably one of the reasons why, because it's not working. It's not working out how the education system is now. Like, look at it. It's not doing too well.
But do you think he's firing people or changing things in his cabinet because he thinks it needs improvement? Or I have no faith in him. That's the thing.
I want to say so. Hopefully he's not changing his cabinet just to focus more towards more alcohol and more
and other things that aren't
so hopefully he's not focusing on bringing more new people in his cabinet to focus on that. Hopefully, he this is just a change of improvement, so you can improve on the healthcare sector, education. I don't know if it's the police or the safety department, etc. So and also, I don't know if does he handle transit too, or is that like someone different?
I mean, I imagine because how those work is he's kind of like the top guy, the province, and then it kind of trickles down from there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, okay, so yeah, hopefully we get those improvements in all those sectors. So
I mean, it's hard for me to have faith in him.
I know.
Maybe
was it? I have a question. Was it his cabinet or was it Kathleen Wynn's
Kathleen Wynne?
Yeah, Kathleen Wynne.
Well, usually
was it her cabinet?
Usually when you have someone coming in, I mean, I don't know if it necessarily goes like that. Only because, like, you'll have ministers of whatever be there for a while. It doesn't necessarily change because the premier has changed. You know what I mean? It's not like
the president.
It's not like the president where you have a cabinet and they bring in their people and whatever. It's not like that. We don't do it like that here that I know of. Like
maybe it feels like it's not his vision, right?
Maybe. But he'll have the power to fire and hire once he's in, but I don't think it necessarily changes because he's in power or someone else is.
Because if this has been going on since Kathleen Wynne, then that's technically
you're thinking it's her screw up. You're thinking it's her screw up.
It's not. If it's been like that since her, then it's probably since.
But we have to remember he's been in power now for 5 years.
Yes.
As we discussed in a previous episode.
Yeah.
And
I think 5 years.
There's only so much that you can blame Kathleen
Wynne for.
But
has he made any changes to his cabinet since then?
But is it him or but the problem is we don't know why he's letting people go. Until we know that, we can speculate till cows come home. But he's been working with these people for 5 years now. And is it more that they were not in line with his vision, whatever his vision is, and that's why he let them go, whether it's for positive or nefarious reasons? Or is it that I think I kind of just solidified it with that. We just need to know the reason why, and we don't know that, and I don't know if he will know that. I don't think it's necessarily he's trying to change things up in the cabinet. I think it goes a little deeper than that, and it's just are they aligning with his vision? So does he want someone in there who's going to align with his vision, whatever it is?
That's fine. That's probably what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
When did the Doug Ford went in as a premier?
We said
2019.
2019.
Okay,
October 2019. So he's been in there for almost 5 years.
Yeah. So Stephen Lees has been there for. Let me see. I'm trying to see this. When he got in, it says 2019, but So the same. I think it's the same year. So Stephen. Well, is this Stefan or Steven? Because I keep saying Stefan in my head, like Stephen.
That's still Steven.
Steven, yeah.
They're spelled differently.
There's so many ways you can spell Steven, like Steven, and then it's STP. But I always pronounce it as Stefan.
No, it's Steven.
Because it's pronounced. Okay.
It's still I was in school with a guy his name was Steven. It's spelled that way.
Okay.
It's Steven.
So Stephen Lees is out as education minister in a major shuffle of Ontario Premier Doug Ford cabinet. Lees, who was served in the role since 2019, will now serve as an energy minister in a swap with Todd Smith.
So they've swapped. Not supposed like he's been fired, but they've been swapped.
Okay.
So,
Hmm.
I mean, again, I don't know what the reasons are. That's the thing. We were never going to know what the reasons are for why that's happened. So,
I mean, Steven did one good thing is put financial literacy on the diploma. So you heard about that one?
I think you mentioned that.
Yeah, he put that on there, which is a good thing. So I guess that was the last thing that he put on there that he wanted to do before,
Yeah.
this one. So yeah.
But again, you gotta also remember he might have put it in there, but changes are always made.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I just don't have faith in anything Black Ford does. I just don't.
Do you think
It's really difficult for me.
do you think he will improve within the next? So when's the next
Why would he
election for
improve when he hasn't improved in 5 years?
Hmm.
Why do you think he's going to improve now?
So when's the next election for the premier? Is it like next year or is it
They are alongside with the.
Prime
I think
Minister?
they're alongside with the prime minister.
So next year.
So next year.
Who's in? Do you know who's in running again?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
We will. Maybe I should add that to the episode
don't
list for next year.
Yeah. Because I don't even know. Like that's
They don't start
very-
really ramping that up though until the same year.
yeah.
So we're still more than a year out from that,
Yeah.
right? So
But like you know who the prime minister candidates are, but you don't know who the premier
this
candidates.
at
Yeah.
this point,
Yeah.
we're more than a year before the election. We're gonna know that now. We might know that in the beginning of the year,
Mhm.
maybe even December into January of next year, because the election doesn't happen until October.
Right.
So we're not there yet. Yeah, let me just add that to the list. I don't forget.
Well, that might be a personal take, so never mind.
What?
So we're just gonna move. Oh well, voting. So I'm just gonna.
Oh no, we're not going to
Yeah.
talk about. We're not going to talk about voting.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, well, you say you're not counting on it improving,
No,
but
I don't have
hopefully it
trust.
does.
I don't trust him. That's the thing. I don't trust him.
Do you
I mean,
think
prove me
somebody?
wrong, please.
Yeah.
But I don't trust him.
Do you think somebody
I-
new who cares more towards the education and healthcare system?
Yes,
Will,
yes.
Okay. Will do better.
Of course.
Did Kathleen Wynne care more than for that, or was she more towards other sectors? Because I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But what I will say is that I feel like, the healthcare system especially has kind of been in this downfall for some time. But I feel like it has gotten extremely worse since Doug Ford. Like, I feel like it's done nothing but a nosedive since he's been in power.
So it's been like, what do you call it? Stagnating. You would say not stagnating or dipping down.
Stagnant, I think here's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, stagnating. Well, yeah.
I would have said it would have been more stagnant with Kathleen Wynne. With Doug Ford, it's been,
Dipping.
yes,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
like if we were on an airplane,
Yeah.
just plummeted towards nosediving
Yeah.
towards the ground. That's what it feels like.
I mean, it's not towards the ground. It's just still
But that's-
nosediving.
But that's where you're headed. You're heading down, and
life.
if you hit the ground, what happened? You don't survive that, don't
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's my analogy to what it feels like the healthcare system is right now.
Okay. Well, we need someone new. Hopefully, that comes to effect in 2025.
Yeah, we'll see.
And also, hope for the best that he, if he is reelected, and I hope for the best that he improves on these a lot more accepted than just, alcohol and put it in convenience stores and
It's already happening. So
I know, but
Um,
it's more important stuff to
Yeah.
worry about than that. We're making small improvements, but like I feel like we need to make larger improvements.
Small improvements is not going to fix our healthcare system.
Yeah.
We need giant steps.
Yeah. I feel like technology needs to pick up over there. Technology is way behind in the healthcare system, in my opinion.
Yeah, but technology can only do so much.
Yeah. And then hire more people as well.
Yeah, they're doing cuts.
Yeah. So he is he a conservative? Conservatives like to be
Doug Ford?
Well, conservatives in general. He's liberal?
I thought he was liberal. No. Or is he conservative? Is he conservative?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Conservative. He's blue.
Okay. Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah. They like to cut.
Yeah.
Versus liberals like to spend.
So then we need a liberal. Kathleen Wynne was liberal. So yes, you're right.
Yeah. So she was spending. Yeah, she was spending, and people were complaining about spending.
Yeah. Well, then look what happens when we don't spend.
Same way with Justin Trudeau. We're spending with Justin Trudeau. Like, we're spending a lot. So.
Yeah, but I mean, there should be a happy medium. I do agree with that. But this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, we need a party that's in the middle. I don't know who
NDP.
Who's I don't know. Is it NDP?
It's NDP.
I think NDP is more towards. I don't know. Is it tax or something like that? I don't know. I can't remember.
So there's really nobody.
Yeah.
Other way you put it.
My information.
But that's
probably off towards to be a little.
That's why we need to pick the lesser of the evils. And honestly, right now, we don't need cuts. So I don't know.
Definitely not a People Party. Is it a People Party?
That's what exists. Or do you mean the Green Party?
No, the Green Party, the People Party. That's the one voting for the mask off during the pandemic.
Oh no, we don't need that. We don't need that.
Yeah, those they're crazy. No. We don't.
They're crazy.
They were for the truckers back then.
Because because it was the far right wing people who didn't want the masks. They're like Trump. In a way, they're like Trump supporters, but yes. Yes. We have the equivalent here too. It's not just America. We have it here too. But anyway.
No. Yeah. Okay.
Let's move off the political conversation. Let's end up in a little bit of more of a fun conversation. Canada's Wonderland, which again is located in Ontario, near Vaughan, a little further north. Yeah, north of Vaughan, but the skyline of Canada's Wonderland in Vaughan will look a little different this season. The the season is almost done by the time we get to this episode, but anyways, the park skydiving ride known as the Extreme Sky Flyer, which I don't remember which one this is, has been removed after 26 years. So the ride would hoist people 150 feet in the air before free falling with the pull of a ripcord. All that remains now is a pile of rubble as crews work daily on the cleanup. Do you know which one it is?
Yeah, I see.
Maybe I should search because I don't remember the name.
I've seen it before. I never went on it. It's scary.
Scary.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a roller coaster person myself, so I probably definitely didn't go on it. Oh, my internet is not working. Can you send me a picture of it? No, my internet's acting stupid at the moment. Okay, yeah. So there are a number of variables that go into assessing which attractions might get retired and which ones will stay on. And as was said by Grace Peacock, who is a spokesperson for Canada's Wonderland, a couple of those variables may include ridership, how popular it is, how long we have had it, and the required ongoing maintenance it might need year after year. There's no word yet on what will replace it, but a new water slide had been added to Splashworks this season. Peacock, who confirmed that additional details will be announced soon, says removing historic rides at Canada's Wonderland can be emotional, regardless of which new attractions are introduced.
Peacock, like the subscription service.
I don't know, actually. And this says Peacock.
Oh, the reporting stuff. Oh, interesting.
Maybe. So, quote, for sure, especially when you have worked with it for so long, it's been a part of the landscape for so long, things change and you take your time with your teams to say goodbye and honor it in a way that we can. So among some of the changes that will be seen at Canada's Wonderland, customers will see entering the park using a new walkway underneath the Leviathan roller coaster. So that's a little more to the right what the current entrance is right now. So it's going to be under Leviathan, which is another one I don't go on either. Park staff hope that will make the process more efficient, especially on busier summer days. I mean, I don't know how that makes it easier, because I'm going under a roller coaster. Why can't you just stick to where you currently are located in the entrance? Like, you have 4 or 5 or 6 different turnstiles in there, and you go into the opening of the park. Like, you're in like the center of the park. You go over to Leviathan, you're now like on the one side of the park, and you have to like move over to the left to go, because when's the last time I went to Wonderland? Because a long time ago. So when you go through the entrance, you're in kind of this central area, and you go to like the different sections of the park, right? Where the Leviathan is one section of the park where it's kind of more like this medieval themed type rides, and Leviathan is one of those. So it's just like, you're not going to be in the central area anymore. You're going to be in like one side of the park now. I don't know how that works, how that makes that better, but whatever. So
yeah, I haven't been there in a while, and I'm guessing they're making changes. Yeah, I'm guessing they're making changes to to improve things, like try to rearrange it, because it's been like that for like over so many years. And also
but I still understand why they need to change the entrance. Taking a ride down, I totally understand that. Retiring a ride, I get that, but like moving the entrance, I don't get that. Because then you're on a hill too. Like the park's on a hill, like, or at least the entrance is like hilly area. Anyways.
And maybe
honestly, when I read this article, I thought for sure the ride they were retiring was I think it's called the Ghoster Coaster, which is a wooden roller coaster.
Right.
It's fun. I like that ride, actually. So I thought they were going to be retiring that one, and I'm like, oh no, I like that one. But then I'm like, oh, this was not what I was expecting.
Nah, maybe it has to do with safety issues too, like
And you think the Ghoster Coaster is one of the oldest rides there? Yeah,
maybe, I don't know, maybe because
it's a wooden roller coaster.
It looks kind of dangerous in my opinion. Just when I watched a video on YouTube, I was like, oh my god, I've seen this ride before. I just never been on it. I'm like,
no, let me look.
Yeah, I would never go on this ride.
Let me look, because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I would never go on this ride at all. But yeah, like if it's like if they were like thinking about this for a while, rearranging and trying to make improvements, and maybe because also sales are probably down, possibly might be it. And they're probably looking at the metrics and analysts, and just looking into like what can we do to try to make Wonderland better.
It's not like Wonderland is hurting. They're not.
Yeah, no, they're not hurt.
Okay, of course not. No.
I mean, like, well, I don't know how much they make, to be honest with you, but like,
oh, it's this ride.
Yeah, and you see it in commercials as well. It's that ride you see in commercials. But yeah,
I'm surprised they're getting rid of this one. Yes, yeah, I'm surprised actually.
Either it might be, due to safety and dangerous because it looks dangerous. It looks like someone's
No,
gonna
but they
fall.
have this on all types of different amusement parks. It's not just Wonderland.
But you don't know how many, injuries or deaths or, has happened since, it's been a long time, but like,
But that's the case at any amusement park that you go to. There's always going to be a safety risk for sure. Like, there's always going to be a safety risk. But as long as, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why I said, like, for me, like, I'm actually surprised it's not the roller coaster. Only like the Ghoster Coaster, which I think is what it's called, like I said. I'm surprised it's not that one, just because it is a wooden roller coaster, and they don't, like, wooden roller coasters are old. They don't make wooden roller coasters anymore because of the safety precautions, rotting and all of that. So I'm surprised that's not the one that's not being retired. But yeah, I don't know. This ride is not one I would go on anyways. It
So I
doesn't.
look at the incidents. So I was asking Google, has there ever been an incident at Canada Wonderland?
Oh, of course there have been.
Well, it is the most popular amusement park in Canada, attracting over 3.78 million visitors annually. While the park has a good safety record, which is kind of not surprising because you have to have a good safety record to have this park open. It has had many incidents over the years, which is normal for any large entertainment venue.
Yeah, yeah, it's not something you can necessarily avoid. It's gonna happen. It's going to happen. It's just not, you hope it doesn't happen, but it's gonna happen. As long as they're doing their part to ensure the rides are safe, people are being securely fastened in rides, as long as things are always gonna happen. It's always going to happen. I mean, I haven't had any incident with Wonderland, but even going to the X, the X comes here every year, but the last time, or maybe the time before that we went to the X, which would have probably been about roughly 10 or so years now.
Yeah, I feel like the X is more grounded though.
What do you mean?
They do have rides, the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Obviously the bumper cars.
No, they have coasters. It's just not looped. They're not looped.
Yeah, it's not looped. It's
or anything like that.
Like I said, they have more grounded type of games or in type of rides. Like the bumper cars are a one.
Yeah, but that's not that's not accurate.
I don't know. It's not the only one.
They have a limited amount of rides at the end of the day, anyways, because of where they're going and where they stay for the 2 weeks. There are a limited amount of rides to begin with. The main part of going to the X, honestly, are the games, but there are rides, and which is, let me finish what I was going to say, then you can finish what you're going to say. There is a water ride that we have been on because I love water rides. So water rides are ones I always tend to go to. The Wonderland's water rides, Chef's Kiss, so fun. Anyways, love water rides. But we went on a water ride at the X, and I can't remember what the ride was called. I'm not even sure if it's still something you can get on, if it's even available now. But we went on the ride. There was no type of fastening. There was no seatbelts. There was no, like, when they do the things that kind of like push down on you. There's nothing like that either. And it was me and my brother, and I guess obviously whoever else was on the particular ride at the time. And my brother would have been little, not little, but little. And my mom was like, "You go in front, just in case of anything. So in case you fall to your death, basically, you fall to your death." And but because there's no fastening, I literally had to like squeeze my legs up against this like middle piece of the ride to ensure that like when you were being like, because you were hiked up, right, to the top of the thing, and then you go down like any coaster, and it was that portion of being moved up that I'm like gripping the middle part of this ride with my thighs and just like hurting me. I was so bruised. Catch this. I was so bruised to the point where those bruises on the inner part of my thighs, like near my knees, were there for like a year at minimum. My legs were bruised and they hurt for a year. So like that's like the thing. It's like you don't want situations like that. Like that's like a minor incident in comparison to what can happen. But that's just one incident. Like you shouldn't be going on rides that aren't properly securing you. But like that was the case where I was not properly secured. And neither was my brother, who would have been, I don't know, 8 or 9 at the time. Like I was a teenager, roughly, maybe late teens, early 20s at the time. So it was just not great.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's just, I think it's just a case of like just Canon Wonderland thinking that they just need to rearrange things to make the theme park a little bit better. That's probably it. That's probably most likely it.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if necessarily rearranging necessarily makes it better, because for whatever reason, for them choosing to move the entrance could be more of the foot traffic than anything. Like I don't know. Like again, it's been a minute since I've been at Wonderland. I've been 2016, so it's been like 8 years now since I've last been. So there could be a reason for that. I mean, when I went in 8 years ago, I didn't feel like we couldn't get through or anything like that. Like we got in pretty seamlessly, so I didn't feel anything. But maybe there's been changes in the last 8 years. I don't know. Maybe even I don't know. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything about. They're clearly going to replace this where this ride was with something else. From my memory, I believe this ride is in the same section as like where the drop zone is, where the not bumper cars. They do have bumper cars, but not bumper cars. It's go-karting. I think it's in the same area as that. So it's going to be something that's not going to be like, it's not going to be like a coaster or something that's going to go in its place. But it's just like, I don't know if they necessarily need anything to necessarily improve. Canada's Wonderland is fine.
Yeah.
Right? They have the summer, they have Halloween Fest, they have a winter or Christmas, or not necessarily Christmas Fest, but like a winter type thing that they do too. They're fine. They're fine, because even the winter thing, that's a newer thing. It always used to be just the summer and Halloween Fest, and then all of a sudden they came out with this. They're fine. So it's not so much that they're trying to improve the park, because they don't need to necessarily improve the park. Why fix something that's not broken?
It could be it could be another thing, like that ride is not making enough money, generating enough money as well. That's probably it too.
It wouldn't necessarily be money, because you pay a one-time fee to access all rides. It would be more of a foot traffic thing. If people are actually going and using it. If they're not using it, then maintaining that ride is no longer profitable. It's not like a Leviathan where that is like you're waiting almost an hour to ride that ride.
Yeah,
it's not like that. So
I can understand, because I would never go on that ride.
Leviathan. Or the
extreme fire.
No.
No.
I value my life, so no.
Yeah, no. I
Again, like my ride, like with the rides I go on, is limited, because I between not make sure I don't get like vertigo and nauseous and stuff like that. Like And I also like to be in control of things. I think the craziest ride that I've probably been on, and then I actually subjected myself to it again when I was older. Because I kid you not, this is kind of as a fun story. The very first ride I ever went on at Canada's Wonderland was the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger is the ride that has like 2 sections to it. You go on it and it like flips you around and like you get like water in your face and shit. I was 9 and I went with my dad, and it was fun when I was 9, and then I subjected myself to it as an adult, and I'm like, never again. I'm subjecting myself to this. But that's like probably the craziest ride I've been. I'm the one that goes on like the fly, or I did do the Dragonfire. Again too when I was an adult, and I was fine. But like those are the ones I do. I do like the easy ones, Dragonfire and like the fly and the one that goes through the mountain. Like I'll do that. That's okay. Those are easy. But I'm not doing like Leviathan or the Bat. Like, you will not catch me on the Bat. Forget it. It's not happening. But anyways.
Okay.
All right.
This ends this episode of the Next Tape podcast. The Next Tape podcast is available on all podcast platforms. We also have a website called solo.to/Next Tape podcast. Where else are we at, Tanyka?
We are on Facebook and Instagram at Next Take Podcast, and Twitter and TikTok at Next Take Pod.
Okay, you can contact us at Mikel Tanyka at gmail.com. That is Mikel Tanyka at gmail.com. That's our email. So yeah, we talked about like all 3 topics, such as
we talked about the social media being sued due to a mass shooting. We talked about the lakeshore health cuts that are potentially going to be happening. And we also talked about a farewell to a ride at Canada's Wonderland.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Okay. Anything you want to say before we leave?
No, I think that's it.
That's it? Okay. I have nothing else to say either. So, I'm Mikel, and
I'm Tanyka.
We're out until next week, guys. Peace.
Bye.